Hi Rubies, hope you're well today. Thank you for clicking on today's video, or if you're new, also thank you for clicking on today's video. I'm Hannah Ruby, thank you for joining. So as you can see, a bit of a different setup today. I don't have my big headphones, I don't have my mic, and that's because we're going to do a different kind of video today, just kind of like a chatty one, and I thought all the music gear was a bit unnecessary because I have to kind of link it all up to my computer and everything can just, yeah, it's a bit of a hassle, so I thought I would just keep it simple today with my camera and myself. So hopefully you can hear me okay. My usual mic is very good at kind of cancelling any outside noise, so hopefully the outside noise isn't too bad and hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm recording on my phone as well, so I've got the camera mic and my phone mic, so hopefully one of them will work okay. So yes. So today I thought I'd do a chatty video. As you can hear, I'm still not totally better. If you watched my last video, you know I've been feeling a bit under the weather recently, hence why I'm cutting my videos back to one video a week, just be Sunday afternoons from now on. If you want to find out more about that, I'll link the last video below or up here or somewhere. And because I have a gig tomorrow evening, I thought it made more sense to kind of do a chatty video today and rest my voice a little bit. This is one of the videos I wanted to do anyway, but I've been kind of caught up with doing covers recently, so I thought now would be a good time to do this video. And also while I was there, I thought I would let my skin breathe too without the makeup, so I feel a bit lost without my red lipstick. Sorry about the noise in the background, there's no way you won't be able to hear the noise. I'm pretty sure it's probably pretty loud, so I'm sorry, I hope you can hear me. I normally use my Zoom H1 for kind of chatty videos, but I don't know where it is. I think it's in my room somewhere. So yeah. Anyway, enough ramblings. It's my busking guide. I think I'm going to call it something like Hannah Ruby's busking guide or something like that. So for those who want to go busking, but don't know where to start, what you need, etc., I thought I would just do a very simple video, along with a blog post that I'll put up the Monday after this video. So if you're watching this the day it went up, the blog post will go up tomorrow, so you don't have to keep rewatching the video back. If you just want a quick, short list of what you need, blog post below. But I know some people like watching videos and some people like reading blog posts, so this will be kind of split up into stuff that, like, the kind of main equipment you need. It's so noisy. The main stuff you need, kind of like other stuff I advise you take, and then I'm going to finish it off with some tips. Everyone kind of has a different kind of, people may have different kind of setup, but this is the setup I have, and for the most part they're kind of roughly the same. So basically, to kind of like get started, first off, the first thing you need to do is to find out where you're going to busk, and if you can busk there. So the first thing you'll want to do is to find out if you need a busking license for it. So the way to do this is usually online on the kind of the council websites. They'll kind of say, sometimes they need a license, sometimes they don't. Check the website. If it doesn't say anything, I personally would email the council. I'd see if I could find an email about to do with licensing, or just an email you can find for the council to find out about it, and they can point you in the right direction and just say, do I need a busking license to busk in this high street, or are there any restrictions, etc. Some places you have to pay for the license, others you don't have to worry at all, but it's really important that you do check, look online. Some places you don't need a license, but they have particular rules, have specifications for the busking. You can only stay in one area for X amount of time, but again, that's another thing to check. So just do your research before you go and busk somewhere, check you can busk there, basically. On the whole, it's basically just kind of using your common sense of being respectful to other people, businesses, not blocking their businesses, not being too loud, not performing stuff that's going to be offensive, obviously, and obviously if you're asked to move on, you know, just kind of common sense stuff. But yeah, that's the first part. Obviously just check where you're busking, if you can busk there, how long you can busk there, that kind of thing. Another thing I will say as well is that there are a lot of Facebook pages that are on Facebook groups that are really helpful. If there's one kind of in your area, I'd recommend joining it or following it, and if you've got any questions, post it on that page, because they're usually very helpful. There's lots of tips on these pages for everything music, so it's worth doing. So next up we'll go into what you need. So this is the stuff that I consider necessary, the stuff that I take. So I am a singer and I play guitar, so this is the stuff I take for that. I'm not too sure how it works with keyboard, so you do your research on that one if you play keyboard and you want to take a busking. I assume possibly maybe just play that one acoustically without an amp, I'm not too sure. So yes, so the first thing I would suggest you take is an amp, a busking amp. So obviously you can play acoustically with just yourself singing and the guitar or the ukulele or whatever, but it can be quite loud on the streets, and I find as long as you've got it at a sensible volume, the amp does help. So the busking amp I have is the Roland Cube Street, I believe it's called. I'll put a picture of it here. And there's quite a lot of YouTube videos out there that will help you decide which one you want. I find personally Cube Street I have is perfect. It has 2 inputs, one for the microphone and one for the guitar. It's always sufficient enough volume. I used it for all of my gigs before I had my big PA system, and there was only a few times where it wasn't loud enough, and they were quite big rooms. So pretty much 99% of the time it was sufficient. What else? And I do still take it to gigs I have at smaller venues too, because it's just perfect. So that is my experience with the busking amp, and it's great as well because it just runs on, I think it's 6 AA batteries, so as long as you've got batteries you're fine. Next up is a microphone. So unlike for recording, I have my Rode NT1A. I don't actually have a specific microphone at the moment that I use for my live performances. I have a few different ones. I have a Yamaha one, I think I have an Axeman one, I'm not quite sure about that brand, sorry, it's very very loud. And then I also have this kit too. So I have this kit too. It's just a dynamic microphone kit with 3 microphones. Kit Sound Lab 3 it says, it doesn't say really anything else but that. But I find it quite sufficient, to be fair. So basically, yeah, whichever microphone you wish to use. Obviously your microphone stand, my advice with this one is pick a sturdy one, because of it could be quite windy, at least where I am, and it could be one of those things that topples over, so try and pick a good one. I think with this one it's more kind of testing and error, just see what works for you, see if it's robust enough. I have 2 different stands. They could be a little bit more sturdy, but they're okay for the minute. So then you need your guitar. I have my semi-acoustic, but like I said, you could do it acoustically if you wanted to. So the one I'm using at the moment is my Tanglewood. I don't know the exact brand, I'll put a picture of it here. That's the one I'm using. I have a few different ones. I've got my Sigma, my Ibanez, it just depends what I'm feeling on, but I have the Tanglewood at the moment. So yeah, your guitar of choice, and then you're going to need your guitar and mic leads. I really would suggest having duplicates of, well, I'd advise having duplicates of anything you can have duplicates of, but the leads especially. I have duplicates for the mic leads, but not the guitar leads, and I really need to get a new one very soon. But it's a good idea to have backups of what you can in case anything goes with it all. So I always have extra mic lead on me. I normally have an extra microphone on me. It's kind of a hassle, but I mean it's useful to have other guitars in case a string goes or you want a different tuning. Personally, I don't take 2 guitars with me, but I know people who do. One of my friends has this really cool case where you can carry 2 guitars at the same time, so that might be worth looking into if you want to play different tunings or a string goes or whatever. So that's kind of like the basics of what you need. So just to recap, need the busking amp, the microphone, a microphone stand, the semi-acoustic guitar, the guitar lead and the mic lead. And I actually have a 7th additional thing I personally need, but I've left it to the end because not everyone needs it, and that is a music stand and my music books. So the music stand is, I can't stress this enough, get a sturdy one, because they are the first thing that goes in the wind. Without a shadow of a doubt. I've gone for a couple. The one I have at the moment is alright. I mean, a strong gust of wind probably would send it flying, but it's okay. But as sturdy as you can get, the better, really. So that is a good idea. And then I just have my music books with all of my covers and things in. Some people are very good and can remember it all off the top of their head. I remember the lyrics, but I can't remember all the chords, so hence the music books. And then you're going to need something to carry it around in. So I personally kind of have this pull along bag trolley thing. It's not perfectly ideal, especially as one of the zips broken, but it will do to carry things around in. It was quite a good price. Before that, I carried my amp around in my it was like a cabin size suitcase with wheels. That was really good actually, until it got a hole in it. I couldn't use it anymore. So something to kind of carry, advisably with wheels. Some people have like just trolleys and then the what's it called, the strap around it to keep it all secure. Whatever works for you. And then I also have some bags to carry my microphone stand and my music stand. They all go in the one bag. And when you're buying this stuff, I would advise, if you could possibly like buy a music stand that comes with a bag or whatever, it's useful. I find that kind of stuff very useful. That is kind of the main essentials. So the next bits is the stuff that I would suggest you take. In my view, they are kind of essential, but maybe not as essential as the other bits, so that's why I kind of left it second. Water, number one. Really would advise this. Sometimes you can be busking up to like 3 hours, or like, what, to be honest, no matter what length you busk, I would recommend taking it. You can really like, your voice can get very tired. I would just advise taking it, basically. I would take warm clothes / a coat. Standing in one spot for a long time can get very, very chilly. So just make sure you have weather appropriate things, basically. I'd advise taking some business cards. I just keep them in my guitar case. They're just useful to have if anyone wants to take it or just sees your name or whatever. I get mine from Vistaprint. I find them quite a reasonable price. Also, another recent thing I've got is kind of like an advertising kind of board. I'll put a picture here. And it just kind of says Hannah Ruby, and it says my kind of details, like my Instagram, Facebook, etc. So just as people are walking past, sorry, I have to keep waiting until the noises stop. So yeah, it's useful to kind of advertise your stuff as people are walking past. They might have, I know people, like when I took mine out, I've only taken it out once so far, but I've had people look at it and kind of look me up and stuff, so it's useful to have. Spare batteries for that amp. I've actually never needed spare batteries while I've been out, but I keep them on me anyway, just in case. And then also, depending on the kind of style you do, a capo and an external tuner. Even if you have one on your guitar, it's useful to have another one. And you know, it's just useful to have another tuner, basically. And then another thing I've just thought of is a spare battery for your guitar. My Tanglewood's a bit difficult because it's like inside the guitar, but my Ibanez, you could slot it out and put the, I think it's a 9-volt battery in and carry on, so that's useful to have too, is a spare guitar battery. So that is all the things I think you'll need to go busking. Let's just recap everything before I go over my final tips and complete the end of the video. So obviously just check where you're busking, if you can busk there, if you need to do anything before you busk there, any restrictions, etc. Make sure you've got your main things you need, your main equipment. So in this case, amp, mic stand, semi-acoustic and guitar and microphone leads, music stand, books, etc. And then also make sure you've got your other kind of essential little bits, like your water, your warm clothes, any kind of advertising bits, spare batteries for that amp, and a tuner and a capo. So that's everything. Now I'm just going to kind of go on to my tips and then we're going to end the video. It's going to take ages to edit because I've literally rambled about such a simple thing. but never mind, here we go. So tips, obviously some of them kind of tie into, oh, sorry, pushing you back there. Some of them tie into kind of other bits I've already said. Make sure you've got some water. Oh, hello Indigo. Alright, my mum and Indigo are here. So obviously make sure you've got that water, and I'd advise bringing a bit of food with you as well, in case you're peckish or you're peckish afterwards. I'd advise, because I'm always hungry, so food is always the first thought on my brain. I would have a think about the parking situation or how you're going to get there and back. So I would do some research on what would be cheapest, because if your parking is like where you are, anything like where parking is where I am, it's expensive. So I would look into if parking is cheaper, or maybe like a day rider for the bus would be cheaper based on how long you're going to be there. So I do some research on that, because your aim is to make money, you don't want to be losing money straight away. So just see what would work best for you. What have I got next? With your busking spot, I would choose your timing carefully as well. They go quite quickly where I am, so I'd get there early and set up so you've got your spot, and obviously make sure you know about how long you can spend there. If there's obviously a queue of people, like, don't spend ages there, like, be fair, share the love, all of that jazz. And also, on a similar kind of note with busking spots, there's usually better busking spots than others. So this is again a trial and error. That was the word, trial and error, that's what I was looking for earlier. I would try out different spots, see what is the best spot for you, what goes down well, what days go down well, that's another thing, days, timings, trial and error basically of seeing what works. I find personally that the weekends usually work a bit better. People are usually happier because they don't have to work for the most part. There's normally more people, and there's a few spots where I am that work better than others. So yeah, just do some research kind of on that, just trial and error with that. And with that one as well, if you've got any friends that busk too, ask them, ask their tips too, see what they have to say about where's best to busk or things that work for them. And then next one, obviously, just weather suitable clothing. That's important, because my fingers have literally nearly frozen off. Well, not literally, they've been so cold they felt like they're going to fall off before. And then the last kind of one is my tips on kind of the songs you should do. So I find personally that well-known cover songs go down the best usually. Oasis never fails anywhere I play anything, just everyone loves Oasis. I can't even tell you how many times I played Wonderwall, Don't Look Back in Anger. But at the same time, don't rule out the kind of obscure songs, because I've played lesser known songs before that I think I'm just going to do it because I like it, and someone's gone, oh, that's made my day, thank you, I haven't heard that in years, and they'll be really happy. So don't rule it out. It's kind of, again, like most of this video, it's kind of a trial and error thing, where see what works, play some different things. You'll soon find kind of what kind of stuff goes down well. It's usually about kind of having like a balance of things, and just seeing what works for you. Basically, yeah, that's what this video could be summed up as. It's basically trial and error of finding out what works for you. But hopefully some of these tips and these kind of things I've said have helped. If you've never been busking before and you'd like to start, it may be rambly. I'm hoping editing has sorted that out. So that's everything. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you did. Pray for my voice. I'm hoping it's going to sort itself out by tomorrow. And yeah, so I shall see you next Sunday for another video. I'd love it if you could subscribe. That would be amazing. And yeah, I'll see you then. Have a lovely rest of your day, rest of your week. And I'll see you later, rubies. Bye.